A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Earlier, you saw snippets from Parliament while the House was debating the President's State of the Nation address. This morning, we've been joined by MP for Tamale Central, Murtala Mohammed. Just to indicate that we reached out to the New Patriotic Party for a representative, but we didn't receive any. So Murtala Mohammed will be our only guest this morning. Great to have you here. How are you doing? Great. You've been busy, and for you as an individual, and I'm sure you're standing again, right, in your constituency. Your party has asked you to suspend campaigning to get the job done in Parliament.
Well, it is not only members of Parliament, but where we have incumbent MPs. The party expects us to play a particular role in Parliament.
Right.
So it would be fair if they suspend campaigning in those constituencies. If not,
but will this not disadvantage you?
It would disadvantage both candidates, because even those who are not sitting MPs, who are contesting sitting MPs, are not allowed to campaign.
Okay, that's
and that is what, so exactly. So, because if the party expects you to be in Parliament working, you'll be working, and then your opponent will be campaigning in the constituency. I think that would be unfair. But where we don't have incumbent MPs, the directive doesn't apply in those constituencies.
So you're ready, you're poised to sacrifice your personal, because that's how you put it. You know, it's almost as if you're saying, oh, we have the nation at heart. Another way for you to score points, isn't it?
No, for party and country. I don't think that there is any way to score points. I really would love to be in the constituency, engaging the people. Even before this contest, I had a program of going around the constituency. I go to my constituency every other week. But for 2 weeks now, I haven't been there because of the directive. Sometimes committee meetings, you meet even on Mondays, and also representing the party. The past 2 weeks, I have been engaged in some of these political programs on weekends. So if you have it on Saturday, Sunday you can't go because on Monday you have another program. So that is just the difficulty.
And your party requested this because there are key issues in Parliament to be discussed. And for your party, I think the most important is the new ECCI, which, we saw the EC chairperson in the House. The majority leader says, look, minority, if you have issues, you know the channels to address them. You can stop us from debating this. You can stop us from considering it to be passed. Have you started any processes beyond your pronouncement in the House about your disagreement with the new ECCI? If
the majority leader thinks that Parliament cannot stop the Electoral Commission from doing what they want to do, then why is the Electoral Commission in Parliament? The Electoral Commission is not an authority to itself. The Electoral Commission's responsibilities and functions are done for and on behalf of the people of this country. And therefore, the Constitution of this country cannot give the Electoral Commission and the commissioners a carte blanche that they can do what they want at any point in time. I'm not a member of the Subsidiary and Legislative Committee, but when the Electoral Commission came there first for the pre-laying, the pre-laying is to indicate what you want to do with regards to the amendments. But let me also quickly state that there is nothing wrong with Electoral Commission or commissioners seeking amendment to an existing CI. This is not the first time. We have had such amendments done in the past. But anytime the Electoral Commission is seeking such amendments, they must provide justifications why they think that the existing CI ought to be amended. The Electoral Commission can decide that even the existing CI, we need to take it out. And they don't decide that in isolation. They do that with in consultation of the various stakeholders, in this case, the political parties. Now, when the Electoral Commission appeared before the Subsidiary and Legislative Committee, they were represented by the 2 deputies. And the person I know who happened to be my former lecturer is Dr. Bosman Asare, and the other deputy, Siribwayam, the entire Electoral Commission, except the chairpersons of the Electoral Commission. And I remember, we wanted to find out why they were seeking the amendment.
This was before the committee?
Yes. They came before the Subsidiary and Legislative Committee for the pre-laying. Now, they said that they wanted, in fact, they were seeking a lot of things. But a lot of things that have escaped people, and I have listened to the analysis that are complete. People are just concentrating on just 3 items. One, to make the Ghana card the sole document that will be used for evidential proof for citizenship before a person can register. Two, to also ensure that the guarantor system, where you can vouch for somebody who is, vouch for his citizenship or her citizenship, should be taken out. And also the registration be done at the various EC offices. There's another aspect. They're also seeking that the electoral officer has the right to determine where registration be done. And that is one thing that I haven't heard a lot of people discuss. And I wanted to find out the basis on which they were challenging the validity of the other documents which were used in the past for the purposes of registration, i.e. the birth certificate and the Ghanaian passport. And I was shocked to hear Bosman Asare and Co. say that because they can't vouch for the credibility of the birth certificate and the Ghanaian passport because there are evidences that some foreigners, possess the Ghanaian passport and then the birth certificate. That was the lamest excuse I could hear. So we pointed out to him that there are evidences of foreigners holding the Ghana card. And in fact, we also wanted to find out from them whether they were aware that the NIA and the Ghana police...
foreigners can have a Ghana card. Just
I'm coming. I'll come.
It's indicated what their nationality
yes, I'll come to that.
They are members
fantastic.
of countries within the
I'll come to that. When I say foreigners possessing the Ghana card, not the card that is exclusive for foreigners or people with dual citizenship or people within ECOWAS. The foreigners possessing the Ghana card, indicating that they are citizens of this country. And the NIA and the
and if you say there's evidence to
the Ghana police and NIA have actually prosecuted some. I've seen on your station that you even had series of such stories where the Ghana police and the National Identification Authority are actually prosecuted and some have been found guilty and the necessary, punishment therein being given. That is evidence. So we wanted to find out from the Electoral Commission that if you are coming to seek an amendment to an existing CI and the justification for which that amendment is being sought, provide us evidence. They didn't come with any evidence that Mr. A, B, C, D are foreigners, yet they are in possession of the Ghanaian passport or the birth certificate. They never came with that. And that was shocking. Because if I'm coming to you to tell you that I don't want you to wear these beads, and the reasons why I don't want you to wear these beads because I saw somebody wearing it and I didn't provide any evidence, how on earth would you even listen to me? So they never provided that evidence. And again, if the argument is that the credibility of the Ghanaian passport and the birth certificate is challenged because foreigners possess them, then that same argument can be made against the Ghana card because there are evidences of foreigners possessing the Ghana card. And in this case, some of them have been prosecuted and found guilty. But in your case, you don't have any evidence. The other one has to do with the fact that the guarantor system should be taken out. And the reason is that the guarantor system should be taken out on what basis? And I'll give an example. If you have your son is a Ghanaian, you are a Ghanaian. At the time of the registration, you were not there. Your son succeeded in registering, okay? And then you come home and you want to register because the registration is not only for the purposes of limited registration, but for some reason, some could not register because they were not in the within the jurisdiction.
Right.
Your son cannot vouch for you. This is my father. Or you have two twins. One, your twin brother or twin sister is not in Ghana. Now your twin sister comes, wants to register. There isn't any doubt about you being a twin to the person who has his or her voter's ID card. The Electoral Commission is saying that, no, she can't vouch for you. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So is the NDC willing to agree to a compromise if the guarantor system is maintained, but the clause that says that only the Ghana card will be the sole document for identification as a citizen is maintained? At least would you take that?
No, we will not. I watched a video where a leading member of the MPP and one of the candidate, wanting to be elected as the MPP flag bearer in the person of Kennedy Ajapong, who stated publicly that he is against that particular, amendment, particularly the idea that you could not use your Ghanaian passport. Because, frankly speaking, let's put aside our emotions. If the justification for not using the other documents as a proof of citizenship is because there are foreigners who possess them, that same argument can be made against the Ghana card.
Fair.
But you know, you raise a point. Consistently, we have been demanding from the Electoral Commission to tell us that the Ghana card is not only possessed by Ghanaians. Foreigners can have the Ghana card, but it must be indicated on it, this is a foreigner. They have still not told us the 17 million people who have the Ghana card, how many of them are foreigners who have it? Have they told you? They have still not informed us. But you see, let's get something very clear. A proof of citizenship is not done through Ghana card. The Ghana card doesn't prove one's citizenship. The Ghana card is only evidence to prove one's citizenship. So what it means is that if you have the Ghana card, it doesn't mean you are a Ghanaian. Because in this case, there are evidences of foreigners having the Ghana card. The Ghana card is just evidence to prove your citizenship. But a proof of citizenship is not determined by the Ghana card. I don't know whether I'm making sense.
I'm trying
a proof of citizenship.
I get what you're trying to drive at,
yes.
But if the document is the evidence that, for example, I have a certificate from school that proves that I have received 4 years of education in journalism, the certificate is proof that I did go through the school, right?
What if the certificate is fake? Well, and there are evidences of foreigners having the Ghana card who have been prosecuted. So what I'm just making, the point I'm just making is that a proof of citizenship is not done by Ghana card or birth certificate.
How is it done?
It is only used as evidence of your citizenship.
So how do you prove your citizenship?
I can prove someone can prove a citizenship of me. My parents can prove that this is my son. And therefore, it is enough evidence to prove that I'm a citizen of Ghana.
But for your parent to prove that you are their son and for it to be accepted in the old system, that parent must also have a proof of citizenship.
So if the parent doesn't have a birth certificate, a Ghana card, doesn't have a passport, can the person use the birth certificate as a proof of citizenship?
But the society has progressed to the point where we say that we want the Ghana card to be what will prove that you are a Ghanaian.
Who wants that? It's the Electoral Commission that wants that. And we asked the Electoral Commissioner, you know, when she appeared before Parliament and we're asking questions, myself, Honorable Ahmed, and then the minority leader, Honorable Atuforsen, were the last batch to ask questions. But when it got to our turn, the Speaker said no, he was tired, and therefore we should all allow Honorable Atuforsen to ask. So let me I wanted to ask the Electoral Commissioner 3 questions. I wanted to find out from the Electoral Commissioner whether she was aware that people are being prosecuted by the National Identification Authority and the Ghana Police, and some of them have been found guilty, as foreigners possessing the Ghana card or not. The answer certainly would have been affirmative. The second question I wanted to find out from Jean Mensah, that she has a Ghana card. And that Ghana card she has, what document did she use as evidence of her citizenship to acquire the Ghana card? Now, Jean Mensah's possession of the Ghana card, she certainly used either the Ghana passport or her birth certificate or someone guaranteed for her. So that is the only way. There can't be any other way Jean Mensah possessed the Ghana card except that. Now, if Jean Mensah got her Ghana card through the usage of her passport or her birth certificate or someone guaranteeing for her, why is she seeking to deny other people the same process she used to get the Ghana card, which legitimizes her acquisition of the Ghanaian voters' ID? Now, she is using she's denying others the same process of acquiring it. And in any case, the Electoral Commission, the National Identification Authority, is a state institution. That is just to prove that you are a Ghanaian. It is an evidence of you being a Ghanaian, but it is not the only way by which you can prove to be a Ghanaian. What the Ghana card can do, providing evidence that someone is a Ghanaian, the Ghanaian passport can do the same thing. The birth certificate can do the same thing. And mind you, the birth certificate is given to you at birth. You go to the hospitals, the birth certificate is given to you at birth. And I'll give you an example. My son was given birth to at the police hospital. Now, my wife actually went in for the birth certificate. My son uses Amadou. But my wife is by birth a Guinean. And she's only a Ghanaian by marriage. So and I wanted to give the grandfather's name to him, and they call Ahmed. We call Ahmed. They call it Amadou. In fact, in many parts in northern Ghana, we call Amaru instead of Ahmed. Now, when my wife went for the birth certificate at the
registry.
No, not the registry, the police hospital. Because of Amadou, the woman was saying no, he's not a Ghanaian. Because of the name. Who determines a name for a name? I can decide to name my son a stone. There's no law in this country that determines how a child should be named. I can decide to name my son a tree. And in fact, as a Muslim, I can give any name to my son as long as it is not a name of a deity. I can decide to call my son John or Thomas, as long as John or Thomas is not a name of a deity. But the challenge they had was that, why is it Amadou? Because most Ghanaian names are not called Amadou. It should have been Ahmed. Are you getting the point I'm making? Mm-hmm. So the point I'm making is that a proof of citizenship is not only determined by national identification card. In fact, before national identification card, birth certificate and the passport were the sole documents and the guarantor form for the purposes of proving that you are a citizen. Now, even the national identification card, for you to get the national identification card, you must use a particular document. And that document you use is either the birth certificate or your passport or someone guaranteeing for you. Now, how can you now tell me the primary document you use to get the national identification card, that same primary document is not valid for the purposes of registering to get the Ghanaian passport, except the document that you procured with that primary document? This is ridiculous. In fact, it's nonsense, utter nonsense. And in this country, people are quiet. I am shocked that you, the people in the media and the civil society organizations, are quiet of this nonsense that is going on in this country. It is just unacceptable. Show me one single country that only a particular document is used. The UK, check. They are using more than 6 documents for the purposes of participating in their elections.
Right.
Jean Mensah traveled to Nigeria and came back. And if you observe, Honorable Haruna Idriso asked her a question on that day. That he wanted to find out from Jean Mensah, what document did she use to travel to Nigeria and back? At the immigration in Ghana, she used her passport to show that she was a citizen of Ghana, for which reason they would allow her to live in this country without asking her certain questions. When she got to Nigeria, for the Nigerian government and the Nigerian immigration to allow her entrance and stamped her passport, she didn't use the Ghana card, she used the Ghanaian passport. So the document of a proof of citizenship is even more credible with the passport than the Ghana card. A Ghana card that is fraught with a lot of fraud. Many Ghanaians don't have this Ghana card.
So your party believes that this is a fight against democracy. So you're on operation.
Don't you believe this is? Don't you believe this is a fight against democracy?
Your chairman.
No, I mean, don't you believe?
The question here. Your chairman.
So I can ask questions.
Your chairman, Asiedu
Yes.
Kejetia, he spoke to my colleague Blizzard Suga, and I mean, you've raised issues, you've raised concerns about why you think the Ghana card should not be the only one. But he said the Ghana card will give way to, quote, mad people to get onto the register. Do you agree with him?
It's possible. It's possible.
Why is that? How does that work?
Is it not possible for a mad person to get the Ghana card?
Is it not possible? When you say mad, do you mean because to the best of my knowledge about mental health, there are people who may have mental issues but may not necessarily be on the streets. So
just like those who are proposing that the Ghana card alone should be used for the purposes of determining citizenship, they could have mental problems.
So
I did psychology my first degree.
Okay, so
I think that a lot of our people need psychiatric attention.
So back to my question, what is the proof then that if we include the other systems of proof of citizenship, you wouldn't have people with mental challenges walking into
the justification for amending the existing CI, the only justification is that foreigners possess the...
No, back to, let's come back to what your chairman said. Yes. And that's what I'm addressing, because he made that statement and it trended for some time on social media. And I'm asking, is that a legitimate reason for which you should say that we don't want the Ghana card to suggest...
You are asking me to explain a statement which was made by my national chairman.
Do you agree with him?
Hold on. I'm saying that. I haven't said I do. I haven't said
Do you
that.
agree with him?
I'm saying that, can I answer your question? You are asking me to explain a statement which was made by my national chairman. You have access to him. He would be the better person to explain his statement. And he never said that this is an NDC position. He didn't say that.
That's why I asked first, do you agree with him?
I wouldn't answer a question which was made by my national chairman in his capacity.
Do you agree? Do you agree?
I don't necessarily need to agree with him or disagree with him.
Okay, let's move on.
But what I'm just saying is that, I mean, he's so available. You should demand some of this.
The premise of my subsequent question was based on the first response, whether you agree with him or not. And if you agreed with him, then I needed further explanation
so
why you agree with that line of thinking. But let's head back to Parliament. Apart from the CI, EC's new CI, there are a couple of other issues. The road tolls. That has been an interesting one. At the time, the finance minister announced that the tolls were going to be suspended. Your side was against it. Now, in fact, at the time,
we were not against. We were against the unilateral decision taken by the Minister for Roads, and we said that he didn't have the capacity to do that. The road tolls was as a result of an act of Parliament, and therefore he could not stand there and declare that nobody should take the road tolls. And two, the mid-year budget which was presented, and I remember it was as a result of the debate that we had. The Minister for Finance never mentioned that, and he could easily have come to Parliament to say that we want you to amend this particular act, but we never did it. So we're not against asking people not to pay road tolls. We're against the process. It's just like the Electoral Commission. We are not against any amendment, but the justification for the amendment is so annoying that no sane person should accept this proposed amendments.
Your leader at the time, Haruna Idrisu, in fact, said that there was going to be a reintroduction of the tolls, which has happened.
Yes.
You feel justified? Right now, we are not only hearing about the reintroduction, we are understanding or learning that there's going to be an increment in how much we pay. Those who have said that it's the way to go. The country is struggling. We need to reintroduce the tolls. Also, we've heard from experts who study the sub-region who say that we are the country paying the least for road tolls. So, considering the time we are, what the minority predicted, your general thoughts about
those who are saying that we are the country paying the least tolls, they should also add that we are the country that we have borrowed more than any of our neighbors, and yet there is nothing to show for the monies they have borrowed. We are a country that is fraught with more corruption than our neighbors. We are the country that borrowed $3 billion in the name of COVID, nothing to show. We are a country that borrowed over $450 million in the name of COVID, nothing to show. We are a country that got over 150 million euro from the European Union, nothing to show. As a matter of fact, they should also add, if they have forgotten, that we have the largest government, appointed all manner of people. 54 members of the family of this president have an appointment in this government. People are not against paying taxes, but people want to see a reflection of the taxes they pay in their lives, in their social lives. This country's security is deplorable. We are in a disaster. We are the only democracy within the West African sub-region that military can go to a particular place because a military officer was unjustifiably barbarously murdered, which we all condemned and demand that investigation be done. Military men went there and brutalized people, and a minister for defense, in contributing to SONA, stood on the floor and said that if you respect the military, they won't beat you. And that minister is still at post. We are the only country that nothing seems to be working. And if anything is working, I want you to tell me today. You have that northern vice president who knows his head every single second. He's telling us that the reason why fuel prices are down is because of the sterling economic interventions. When we all know that there is a reduction of global crude to $73, yet he will look into our faces and lie in such a legendary fashion. So those who are saying that we should pay those high tolls, they should also be reminded.
But why would you call it a lie if he says the gold for oil policy has helped in...
Look, let me tell you, anytime the NDC comes to power, some of us will insist those who are profiting from this gold for oil are prosecuted. There are middlemen who are engaged in that. It's an avenue to rob this state. The more, haven't they robbed us enough? It's an avenue, and everybody is happy. Gold for... Why is it that even in the high seas you can get fuel to buy? Now they tell us that they would have to go to Dubai. It's an avenue to make, and everything they are doing, we are aware. And that is why some of us, our position is that, inshallah, if the NDC comes back in 2025, necessary prosecutions be done. You can't rob the state and then expect that everybody should fold his hands and allow you to continue robbery. I mean, what is working in this country? President Mahama borrowed 40 billion. And frankly speaking, and I say this with all sincerity, a section of the Ghanaian media, and I'm not making reference to you, but a section of the Ghanaian media is so zombified that anytime MPP zags, they see nothing wrong with this government. President Mahama borrowed 40 billion. 40 billion. And I have projects to show in Accra here. The things President Mahama did with the 40 billion. Look, the Pokwasi interchange, the Obechevi Lamti, the phase 1 and everything were part of the money President Mahama borrowed. The circle interchange is here. The Rich Hospital is here. The University of Ghana Medical Center, all of them. This president has borrowed over 480 billion. There is nothing to show.
But when the president came to Parliament delivering the State of the Nation address, he said he had attached an appendix to his document for your perusal, and he did that, and he was specific to mention that it's because of the minority he did that. These loans have been used for road constructions et al.
No, first and foremost, the president lied, and that is so shameful. And
lied about?
About almost everything, and I'll provide evidences. You see, Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution expect the president to deliver the State of the Nation's address. And the reason why delivery of the State of the Nation's address is important is that so that the president will be able to tell us the true state of Ghana. So he is expected to tell us sincerely. The reasons why the State of the Nation address is important because it will help citizens to plan their lives as far as financing is concerned, social life is concerned, security is concerned. Look, I'll just give you a catalog, what the president said. And this one is from budget statements presented to Parliament. Anytime a Minister of Finance is presenting the budget statement, he says, I'm presenting this statement for and on behalf of the President. So the budgets are statement of the Minister. I'll just give you one. Look at 2009 budget, and you can check it in 2010 budget. What we did in 2009 is captured in the 2010 budget. Now, paragraph 362, 365, and 370, trunk roads that the NDC constructed, 108 kilometers. Feeder roads, 869 kilometers. Urban roads, 1,416 kilometers. A total was 2,393. Let me just tell you, give you the sum total. Between 2009 to 2012, NDC administration constructed a total of 9,553.22 kilometers of roads. Now come and look at 2013 to 2016. That was under President Mahama. The first one was Prof. Mills President Mahama. Right. I'll give you the total. Between 2013 to 2016, NDC constructed 5,995 kilometers. If you add 5,995 plus 9,553, that will give you about almost 15 or 16,000 kilometers. Now, let's look at what President Nana-Addo did. Between 2017 to 2020, they constructed a total of 4,331 kilometers. Now, let's look at 2021 to 2022, and you can find this in the budget statement, a total of 2,122. So 2,122 kilometers plus 4,331, that will give you a little over 6,000 kilometers. Yet this old man will stand there and lie, look into our miserable faces and lie to the people of this country. And you journalists, where is your fax tracker? Why are you not checking this? I am making this available to multimedia, and I'm giving you pages. I know you have an outstanding, fax tracker.
Yes.
You should track this.
We work on these things.
I'm making this. I'm saying that I'm giving you pages. Which particular budget it was presented, everything. These were things presented by this incompetent Minister for Finance, who is the Minister for Finance because he uses Oforiata. That is the only reason why he's the Minister for Finance.
No, I think that's just,
But what is the reason?
The President says that his appointees have performed well. And
I don't know whether I should cry or I should laugh. His appointees have done so well. He took inflation from 15% from President Mahama, he described as incompetent, to 54%. He took debt to GDP under President Mahama, a little over 60%, to 104%. Maybe you're viewing public, some of them should understand.
Yeah, but the president admits times are hard, but he says, give us some patience.
What makes the times hard?
He says the world over.
Which world over?
Have been impacted
Which
by
world
COVID
over?
and the Russian
COVID.
invasion.
First and foremost, many people died in Ghana under COVID than our neighbors. Many people. Ghana, 1,455 people died as of September. If we juxtapose that in percentage terms, that will give you 0.005%. Nigeria, 3,255 people died as of September. Juxtapose it against 200 million people. That gives you 0.0001%. Togo, 275 people died as of September last year. Juxtapose it against their population, 0.001%. So they have been lying to us. There can't be a better way of managing COVID than protecting the lives of your citizens. Now, if you look at the
Are you saying that didn't happen? Are you saying that the government didn't protect?
I'm saying that the best way to tout yourself and say that I have done well in managing COVID is how you protected the lives of your citizens. And I'm saying if you look at the total number, the raw figure I have given, more people would have died in Nigeria than in Ghana. But if you calculate it in percentage terms against the Nigeria's population, more people died in Ghana than in Nigeria, died in Ghana than in Togo, died in Ghana than in Niger, died in Ghana than in Ivory Coast. As a matter of fact, Burkina went to World Bank for only $20 million. This incompetent and corrupt government went to the World Bank, IMF, for $3 billion in the name of COVID.
Okay.
Went to the World Bank for $450 million. Yet we were told that we're given free water and free electricity, isn't it? I never enjoyed the free electricity because my consumption, and I believe you didn't. If you use air condition and others, you wouldn't. But let's assume that everybody got it. With all the monies they have borrowed in the name of this, they told us they gave us free. We are now being made to pay that money. None of you in the media is trying to find out how much did you spend in giving us free water and free electricity.
Oh, we've done that. I mean,
have they answered you? Have they answered you? I have filed a question on the floor of Parliament. Over 3 months now, this minister is consistently refusing to answer that question. We are being robbed. Because, no, let me land on this point. Let me just land. Assuming that they spent $20 million, for example, or 20 million Ghana cedis, giving us free water and free electricity. And with the COVID levy, we are now still paying. They have collected 50 million Ghana cedis. Wouldn't that amount to the state robbing the already deprived citizens? And they are unwilling to give us this response. You see, it's galling and sometimes hurting. When you see and expect people to talk, tell me, which government is more corrupt than this government? Go and read Afrobarometer report.
Did you see the award ceremony, which happened about 2 days ago, for persons who had, according to the president, performed well in the country's fight against COVID-19? You saw the health minister and Kejetia Nkrumah receive awards. The minority side has raised issues about that, but based on what you say, what you just said, you totally disagree that we fought COVID-19 well?
Maybe I thought that we should be finding out how much did the state spend in providing the bogus awards. How much did the state spend? This president and the family profited from the lives of Ghanaians at COVID tests, antigen tests at the airport. The family had relationship with the company that existed there. This same minister, this incompetent minister for health, told the appointment committee that that company operated initially without a license, so they were engaged in illegality. Now they set up a company. That company had no prior knowledge in antigen tests. That company was registered just a month before they did what they did. And they were taking $500 from citizens of this country. They took over $300 million. They got another...
They were taking $50 or
$500 per antigen test. They got over $300 million. They didn't see the need to engage even a Ghanaian bank. They engaged a foreign bank. And any money that came there, they wire it to an offshore account so that Nanado and his family would continuously profiting from the lives of Ghanaians. Some people lost their lives. I mean, I don't see any space of empathy and sympathy in the heart of this president and the gang of incompetent, corrupt individuals that he has appointed. Yet nobody is saying anything. Anytime you raise an issue, NDC, it must stop. It is not an NDC. It is about this country. And that is why I asked the question. We should be finding out how much was spent in those awards. But you see, it resonates in the Buza Danko tradition. And I've been saying that my grandfather was one of the founding fathers of this Buza Danko tradition. But the more I read about the political history of this country, the more I distance myself from them. You remember what President Kufuor did? Was it in 2004, 2007? When he spent our money, buy some gold ornaments and hang on the necks of certain individuals in this country like Idi Amin. And it is the same thing this government is doing. They have still not accounted for the COVID money. Yet the president stood on the floor of Parliament and said that nobody misappropriated any COVID funds. Yet you have an independent state institution, the Auditor General, which report you have serialized, indicated that monies within the COVID funds were misappropriated. Kojo Opon Nkrumah has been cited, isn't it, in the Auditor General's report as to how.
But he's given reasons, and we know what the Attorney General said.
He's given reasons. Has it been settled? Has it been settled that the Auditor General was right or wrong? Yet such a person is given an award.
Please, we need to move on.
You are defending him because he has worked with you people, isn't it?
This is not in defense. He made a statement that I need to put.
Any other person they accuse. Any other? No, I'm saying that I'm not accusing him. I'm making a statement of fact. The Auditor General in this cited. I'm coming. He has given his response.
Yes.
Now, the matter has not been settled.
So
then you award him for what?
Right. So the issue of how much Frontiers was charging was $150.
Sorry, $150. I'm sorry. And we're the only country that was taking $150.
Right.
Antigen test.
So back to the question that brought us all the way here: the road tolls.
Yeah.
What are your concerns about that?
First and foremost, I have stated, I don't know how many times I have to state this. Nobody is against payment of taxes. People want to see a reflection of what they pay in the services you provide. I'm a member of Parliament for Tamale Central. I take common fund for and on behalf of the people of Tamale Central. If I use a dime of the common fund I take, on the day of judgment, I'll count to the people of Tamale Central. And that's why I had to mortgage my common fund for projects. And I realized that there was a problem with water, so I mortgaged it. And I didn't award the contract. People went through, the assembly awarded the contract. So anytime a common fund comes, assembly pays to that. That is what leaders must understand. Now, when you take money and people don't see a reflection of the monies that you have taken, you think that you'll be willing to pay taxes. In any case, the state has lost a lot of money as a result of the individual reckless decision taken by the minister without any authority. The minister did that. Do you know how much you were getting? About 17 million, I'm told. Ghana cedis a year as a result of we have lost that. Wouldn't that be a justification for him to be prosecuted one day for causing financial loss?
So what would you like to see? There are those who have suggested that, well, we should determine which of the tolls we want to toll booths we want to resume operations at, because they're concerned about traffic build-ups. And you know, there were those concerns prior to the suspension of the road tolls. But for you, what should we do? Should we just go back to opening the toll booths? And mind you, some of them have been destroyed. We've seen some even on the Tema motorway where vehicles run into and all that. So this is also going to cost us, if you have to put it in good shape for the toll workers to start working in. And also the bit about the proposal by the Finance Ministry to have the tolls increased.
You heard the Minister for Finance. I call him my uncle, even though he says that among his nephews, I'm a very recalcitrant nephew. The Minister said that they should set up a bipartisan committee to investigate what? The number of roads they have done as against the number of roads the NDC has done. If you go and re-gravel, and then you calculate the total, kilometers of re-gravel and says that you have done this, the information is available. But the point I'm just making is that, look, the purpose for the toll levy was to maintain the existing roads. Is that not the point? Accra here, just come out from Joy. Most of these roads, the re-altifalting, were done by NDC. In fact, the contract was started by NDC. We started even doing a lot of the routes here. But don't go far. When I was coming here, I had to pass through Nima Roundabout. Then I came to go and see those roads. Now, people have been paying money, yet you don't see a reflection of the monies they pay in the services that are supposed to be delivered. That will discourage people from paying. Myself and you and many people have traveled outside this country. And we have seen how taxes are being used. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, taxes are used to enrich families. Are we not concerned? The large size of government that we operate, are we not concerned?
It looks like the priority maybe for your colleague on the other side, opinion marking, is the large size of parliament rather. He suggested that the number of seats be reduced from 275 to 200. He thinks that this would be a big ease on the public purse.
No, that would be good. If Afenyo decides that his seat, he wants to get out of parliament and he thinks that his seat should be added to another constituency, this government, through this electoral commission, are even looking forward to create more constituencies. You are aware? They are looking forward to create more constituencies. That is what this government is doing. Look, until such a time we insulate the legislative arm from the control or the grip of the executive, we have these problems. When I was a deputy minister for
but clearly, based on what you've said, Afenyo Markin and his party seem to be at different lengths, because you say
he's a leader of his party.
but they are not on the same page, because if you say that government is hoping to introduce new constituencies, but Afenyo Markin is saying there should be a reduction, clearly on this score you're seeing that the arms are working separately.
No, they are not working separately. You think that MPP members are independent of the control of their party? If they were independent, the 19 members of parliament, and which subsequently became the entire caucus, when they demanded that the Minister for Finance resigns or be forced to jump, what happened? After they had a meeting.
But there's some of your colleagues who think that it was cosmetic. You think that it was done to
when they had that meeting, I said, I don't know whether on your program,
I have interviewed here before.
I said I never.
You gave me that response.
I never trusted what they did, and people were angry. You know, you had civil society organizations praising them. Yeah. I'm a political science student, and I was like, I said, these people, I would have hailed this, but I don't trust them. Only for them to admit that a certain businessman met them. They said it. We didn't ask them, and then attempted to bribe them. And suddenly they change. People are not interested.
But they say they didn't take the money. They said the only thing that convinced them was the meeting with the president.
Attempting to bribe is a crime. Why were they not willing to mention the name of that businessman? If we say that a certain businessman met us and attempted to bribe us, yet they were not willing to mention the name of the businessman. Why? So I'm just saying that until we do that, the idea of having smaller, constituencies, nobody will have any problem. But the question is, why are we continuously increasing? Look, go and look at the constituencies they created in MPP strongholds. They just cut them pieces because of gerrymandering. They want to have more constituencies. Now, if you are telling me as a leader of a caucus that you think that we should reduce it, yet you are supporting an attempt to create more constituencies.
But how do you know he's supporting that attempt?
I don't want to say that when we get to the bridge, we will cross. But I'm saying that, and I can bet my last penny, let them attempt to make such a move, he will support it. He's my friend, everybody knows. The MPP, anyway, it's too early, I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping up our conversation shortly. I've been talking to Murtala Mohammed, MP Tamale Central, on some of the issues happening in Parliament with regards to the President's State of the Nation address. We've been talking about the reintroduction of road tolls, and just the one we just heard him comment on his colleague, Deputy Majority Leader Afenyo Markin, asking or proposing that the number of seats in Parliament be reduced from 275 to 200. You're a former Deputy Trades Minister. Yeah, we just released our latest Hotline documentary, One District, Some Factories. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's an assessment on the initiative or the policy by this government to create jobs, promote industrialization.
How they created the jobs?
In that documentary, we realized that for some of the countries, like the gas cylinder manufacturing one in the central region, they have produced, in fact, I think about 20,000 cylinders, which have been stored in the warehouse. They're unable to sell. According to them, there's stiff competition from a foreign company. Some of the other companies we've also spoken to say, we haven't received all the money from Exim Bank. We're supposed to get another tranche that will help us operationalize. And so many of these factories are sitting dormant and there's really nothing happening. For you, I mean, I went on the streets of Accra to speak to some people who say it was a fantastic policy. They do not have any issue with the idea. They think the execution was poor. Do you agree?
It's not only the execution. Let me state, as a former Deputy Minister for Trade, and I think that the 1D1F would have been a fantastic policy, and I agree with those who interviewed. But it is one of the biggest scam of this government on the people of this country. And I've realized when you make such statements, people don't look at the issues you raise. They go to play the person. When you industrialize through establishing factories, as we are made to understand, your economy is supposed to grow. Industrialization leads to growth or the expansion of your economy. And when an economy grows, jobs are what? Are created. Is that not the point? So for us to do a proper impact assessment of the 1D1F, let's look at whether our economy has grown. 2, whether the jobs have been created. And we can only do that using certain indicators. The indicators, or the most suitable indicator is the joblessness or the unemployment. President Mahama handed over an unemployment rate of 6.8 to this government, 6.8, without 1D1F. This government says that, oh, we are going to create more jobs, we are going to industrialize. 1D1F, a lot of money have been sunk in it. The unemployment rate in this country, per the census figures, 17.4%. Youth unemployment, per the statement, the financial statement which was presented by this government, 12.6%. So if I say that the 1D1F is a failure, I am perfectly right. Because the jobs are not created. In fact, if the unemployment rate was static, one would have said, okay, nothing happened. Or even if it was from 6.8 to 7.2, one would have said, okay, perhaps population. Our population grows at 0.5%. So even if you want to make the argument of population, it won't wash. Unemployment is 17.4%. Yet this incompetent and corrupt government will look into our faces and tell us that 1D1F is working. I haven't seen your documentary. I would watch the documentary and I will make my assessment, my critique. I
actually just realized that the number of cylinders that have been left is 200,000, not 20,000.
I'm not interested in the 200,000.
No, I needed to make that correction because it's an issue of fact. So just permit me, that was not for you directly, but just by way of information.
The other day when I read this, someone said, oh, we have recruited people into the police service. I said, fine. It is the macrocosm of the entire, if you like, gamut of employment we are talking about. Whether the police service, the cylinder, the farmers and everything. That is what is calculated to determine the rate of unemployment in Ghana. It moved from 6.8% to 17.4%. The census figures which was presented. Youth unemployment is now over 12%, about 12.6%. So the question is, has the 1D1F yielded its results? And I'll tell you the danger with my experience as a former deputy minister. If you look at the 1D1F, if you agree to come on the 1D1F, the 1D1F, unfortunately and sadly, has become a vehicle to reinforce Nana Ado's uncontrollable ego. That yes, this is a policy I implemented, and therefore I want to count the number of districts I've created. If you listen to the president on the State of the Nation's address, he said that they've created about 104 or 106 factories. Yet, you read the financial statement. They stated about, in fact, when he had the SONA last year, the SONA the budget statement, which was in November, the budget statement, they said about 146. So where are the 20 factories? You know what they do? If you agree to come on 1D1F, you are given some incentives. 5 years tax holiday. You won't pay taxes. In Parliament, and I stated this and your reporter can attest to that, this government was given tax holidays. What's the name? The term they use for it. Is it a rebate or to 2 companies? 2 companies, not the total amount, over $11 million. And the criminal aspects of it is that the intelligence I got was that the goods were already in Ghana. They came to Parliament and they said that they are on 1D1F. And therefore, we should give them that tax incentive. Over $11 million. You remember that day I even had confrontations with some of our colleagues. We debated the issue. We said it was ridiculous to do that. And our point was that the companies haven't provided proof of jobs that they have created. Now, if you look at the flip side, a company that used to pay about $3 million annually for tax holidays, they agreed to come on 1D1F. The ego of the president is bloated. He adds it to the number of factory 1D1F that they have created. That company is now bringing in goods without paying the necessary taxes. The state is denied the over $3 million they used to pay for import duties. Yet they haven't recruited a single job. You think such is a policy you should advance? When the NDC, the first time President Nanado, then candidate Nanado, talked about 1D1F, was when President Mahama commissioned the sugar factory. You remember?
Yes. I have one last question to ask you about our external debt exchange program, because it's affecting some key projects around the country. But we have to go to Kumasi now. Yesterday, fire gutted some shops at the Kejetia market. My colleague Nanaya Boache-Yadom is there for us. Nanaya, what's it looking like the morning after?
So right here at the Kejetia market, unfortunately, what happened yesterday, we are here on top of the building where the fire started. This is where the fire started. These are several shops over here. They sell catapults, what they call ties, and other plastic materials over here. So we can see several shops inside the top building of the new Kejetia, redeveloped Kejetia market. This is the place that got burnt. We can see several items here which also got burnt. Earlier this morning, the National Fire Service, the police service, the military service, and then also NADMO came here to see what is actually going on, or what actually led to the fire outbreak. What led to the fire outbreak would be established right after midday. That is what we have been told. They have said that they would establish what actually led to the fire outbreak during midday, so they would address the media. But as we speak, what led to the outbreak has not been established. Market women are down there waiting for city authorities to address them. At the moment, the KMA boss and the regional minister, we are expecting them to come inside this building to also address the market women over here. It is quite unfortunate. You can see several items here got burnt. So we are waiting for the KMA boss and then the city authorities to arrive here so that they can also talk to market women. But currently, I am being told that the city authorities are in a meeting with the regional minister, and then they would come into the city market, or they will come to the Kejetia market later in the day. So we are expecting them to arrive here at 11 a.m. and also address the market women at 12 p.m.
Nanaya, just a quick one. I know we are yet to hear from the fire service on what exactly caused the fire, but have you been able to pick up any news or any information about what exactly happened? What did the traders witness?
So right now, we can see that it started from this particular shop. I do not know if you get the feed. It started from this particular shop, just a single shop, and then it extended to several other shops here. What actually brought the fire from the single shop is not known. But then we are being told that it was due to some reckless action taken by the shop owner that led to the fire outbreak. That we cannot tell because we've not heard from the fire service, and we've not heard what they've been able to establish. But we know it started from this particular shop you are seeing, and then it extended to several other shops here at the Kejetia market due to a reckless action taken by the shop owners.
Do you know exactly the contents of these shops that have been affected?
At the moment, we do not really know, because the NADMO coordinators and the Ghana Police Service, they are preventing us from going closer to the shops. They are preventing us from going closer. But they say that when they establish everything, they would come and speak to us. Right now, we cannot tell what exactly, but because they are preventing us from entering. They are inside, they are doing their fact checks, and they will speak to us in no time. So right after we engage with them, we can talk about that.
Now I am watching coming to us from the Kejetia market, which has been temporarily shut down for Nana Boache-Yadom, who just came to us from the Kejetia market. That facility has been temporarily shut down for officials of the Ghana National Fire Service and NATMO to establish the cause of fire and the extent of damage. So we'll be following up on this and let you know exactly what has happened or what will happen in the next few days. So back to you in the studio, Murtala Mohammed. It's interesting that fire gutted this market just the day I did the story about the projects there being stalled on the midday news on Joy FM yesterday. That was one of our key stories. It's estimated that about 15,000 jobs are on the line because due to the external debt exchange program, the Kejetia market extension, the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital Maternity Block project, and the Kumasi Airport project have to be stalled, and the workers are concerned that their jobs are on the line. They are not making any money. The mayor of Kumasi, Sampaim, actually admits that it's true, but he says it's not exclusive to Kumasi. There are other key projects across the country that are affected by this quest to clear our debt externally.
The sad aspects of it is that we are going to go through this agony for the next 1 year to 2 years. I mean, the only solution is to boot out these people.
Won't the IMF deal help once you're able to establish that?
You haven't even gotten the IMF yet. And the IMF money is just a drop in an ocean. Now, if you take the 15,000, average, dependence of 3, you multiply the 15,000 by 4. That gives you about 60,000 people's lives are going to be in danger. And we have had experiences of such. The education of people or kids may be truncated, or they may be taken from, if you like, so-called better schools to the schools myself and some of my colleagues attended, the Saito schools. We have been told the Minister for Education that he's going to close down certain schools. How ridiculous. A Minister of State whose comfort is ensured by our taxes can make such a statement. Who determines non-performance statement? Isn't that an admission of failure on your part as a minister, that you identify certain schools that they are not performing? If we will have to change, then we must change the government, because this government itself is not performing. So if you calculate the total dependence on these people, multiply it by 3, the 15,000 by 3 will give you about 60,000 people whose lives are going to be in danger. And in fact, it can lead even to marriages, being torn apart. We've had instances where someone lost their job. I remember when they had their so-called banking restructure. I don't know whether your station interviewed someone, said, look, my wife has left me because I can no longer take care of the family. I don't think that any woman would want to be, except few, that you can't take care of just the basic things that you need to provide, you'll not be able to. So it has a lot of consequences. So I'm saying that, yet this government is not interested in looking at this. They are only interested in breaking the 8. You listen to them, the narratives everywhere they sit will break the 8. They are not thinking of how they can salvage this. This ship is in a wreck. I can tell you, we are only struggling to see if we can get hold of the pieces and parts of it. You cannot have a debt to GDP of 104%, and you think that there can be a way out. You can't have that. Yet when we have people who criticize the government will say that, yes, you even have people who can criticize the ambassadors, who can criticize the government, as if it is a novelty. We all saw what my good friend John Benjamin did to the NDC. And the biggest, choir leader was the president. They were hailing him left, right, and center. I am particularly worried. I am particularly worried because of the livelihood of the people who are going to be affected. Now, if the size of the government had been reduced as demanded by the IMF and some civil society organizations and the NDC, the amount of money that would have been used to take care of them, I believe that it could have been used to do something, particularly the Kejetia market. And most critically, the maternity ward at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. It means that it is not only the livelihood of people. Lives are going to be in danger because the maternity ward was providing a lot of shelter comfort. And I believe the facilities that were there were used to preserve lives of this. It's
actually under construction. I don't know if you remember our special assignment we did about that 40-year-old maternity block
I
built
remember,
during the Champion era that it had to be pulled down because the structural
risky,
integrity was compromised.
Yeah.
So this is a new one that is being put up, and so it has to stop. But let me thank you so much for joining us this morning. Murtala Mohammed is MP for Tamale Central, and I did this with him because the MPP didn't give us a rep just by way of
They don't have the
information.
interest of even having reps any longer. They are tired.
Tired of what?
Despondency. I mean, if they are demoralized, if I can use that word. So even when you find that the enthusiasm is gone, and that's why I say that.
But why are you speaking for them? It could be some other reason.
I'm a rational human being, and I know how they behave. Why? This is not the only platform. There are several other platforms you go. They don't have people to represent them because everybody. It's like monkey they work, babu they chop. The only way you can get the opportunity to chop is when you go and add Oforiatta to your name.
Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it.
Mohammed. You're watching the AM show. We'll be back with more. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting. It will be happening on the 21st of this month. And the topic is domestic debt exchange lessons and the implications for how you invest. The organizers will be joining me right after this. Do stay.